This episode of the Adventure Jogger is brought to you by Josh Berman, Just Uploader, Steve Hendry, and William Keep Running Bro on YouTube, Jera, and the rest of the Patreon folks. Thank you for the support, and you. We wouldn't be anything without the listener. The Adventure Jogger, a podcast about trail and ultra running. Meet fascinating runners from the front, middle, and back of the pack, sharing inspiring and funny stories about life and running. Running should be fun, and so should running podcasts. I'm your host, Steven Kornhaus, and this is the Adventure Jogger. Well, today on the Adventure Jogger, I have got a guest from the future, technically. He is coming to us from the next day, 16 hours ahead in Australia, and I think it's pronounced Warragul, maybe? I don't know.
Close. Warragul.
Warragul, Australia. And today we've got Peter Bruce on the podcast, and you may recognize him from a couple of Bo Miles films if you follow Bo on YouTube. And super excited to have Peter on the podcast, hear his story, his hip journey as well. So welcome, Peter, to the Adventure Jogger.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stephen. Great to be here.
Yeah, so how are things in the future in Australia?
Look, it's hot here. It's about 25 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's warm.
It's pretty warm.
So, things are pretty good. Can't complain.
Yeah, because you guys are going into your summer season, right?
Yeah, just starting summer now. So,
okay. Yeah. So it's
where you are right now.
Right. We just had our first snow on, I think, Thursday. Last week we had not maybe like an inch on the ground. It wasn't much, but definitely different than 25 Celsius. That's probably in the 70s or 80s, I would imagine.
70s
maybe
or 80s. I think so. Yeah.
Well, Peter, before we dive into the whole hip thing, I kind of want to know a little bit about you and your running journey. What brought you into running? How did you find the sport?
Well, look, I was a runner in high school, and as you were talking about Bo before, Bo and I ran against each other in high school, and it says in one of his films that, look, the real story is I had glandular fever in year 12, and I hadn't lost a high school running race all through my high school. In year 12, last year, or my final year, I had glandular fever, and the doctor said, don't run. I said, I'm running. That's my last run. I came second to Bo by about 100 meters. So that's why I claim he won by default. But during that time I was a basketballer. So I played basketball for 25 years, and that's been my life. And at 22, I had hip problems and got told, you need to stop playing basketball forever.
Wow.
I didn't listen to that. I kept playing for another 20 years and just put up with pain. I had a few minor hip scopes just to clean up the joint. And it got to the point where I gave up basketball. I'm 45 now. I gave up basketball at about 40 years old. And because I couldn't change direction, that was the problem with my hip. So then I picked up running again with Bo. Ironically, so we were friends all our lives, but we didn't run much for 20 years. And then we started running together every weekend. And then we said, well, why don't we challenge ourselves and do something stupid and start doing ultras? So, we tried to find the hardest 100-kilometer race to do, and that was the story. We started doing that. So, got back into running, and then 2019, I ran my first marathon. So I hadn't run more than 30 kilometers prior to, 2019, 2018, and then built up to my first marathon. So ran the first marathon in 2019, and then was like, well, what's next? And then, let's get into doing some ultras. So we don't do many official races, but we will do a few 50 kilometers out in the mountains by ourselves, just purely because of family and time.
Nice.
We just do it together. So it's been really, really good fun. And then, needed a hip replaced April last year. So,
So in high school, you said you were, or not high school, in college, I guess, or 22 years old, you had hip problems and had some hip scopes. Did they determine did you have a torn labrum, or what was the issue?
I probably did. But I was born with hip dysplasia. So basically the hip sitting a little bit out of the socket and bleeding away. Both sides hip dysplasia, never detected early. And basically ended up no cartilage in the hips. But they cleaned it up enough that you could stay mobile without needing a replacement. Yeah.
Well, it sounds remarkably similar to mine, because I was hip dysplasia as well, and both sides. The right side was worse than the left side,
Yep.
But wow, that's interesting,
Saying
man.
right was worse than left.
Really?
So yeah, yep.
Now,
And so
did your go ahead.
I'm left-handed. Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
There you go. So that doesn't have anything to do with
Yeah. Well, I was like,
it.
did your parents have any hip problems? Like, was it genetic, do you think, or
Not well, they don't really play sport. Not many people in my family played a lot of sport, so I'm not really
okay.
sure. But it's ironic. I'm one of five kids, and my younger brother now started running, and he's now fitter than me right now, 100% because I'm not running.
Oh
But
wow.
motivated him to start running, and he's got his first marathon coming up this year. So yeah, it's good.
Nice.
Mm.
Nice. So your first ultra marathon, you said that was 2019 or 2020? You ran the first.
Probably 2020, 2021, like, and unofficial. It wasn't a race. It was just
Okay.
Bo and I said, let's go and do 50 Ks today.
Right.
Out in the mountains close to where we live.
Nice. Now,
No aid stations or anything. You just take your stuff
okay.
with you. Just drop a water pack somewhere or something about halfway.
Yeah.
And carry a ridiculously heavy pack, so
It's good training, right? Good training.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
please tell me you're not as gross as Bo. It always freaks me out with my
Ah,
wife when he's picking up like food
man.
off the side of the highway
Nah.
and eating.
Nah, I completely not. I'm the
Okay,
opposite.
good.
I look at him, I'm like, what are you doing that for? Like, so this is why it's such good fun when we run, is because he's completely opposite to me in that space.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, he might be learning from that. He might have been, he's been sick a little bit lately, and
I
I'm
saw
telling you,
that.
yeah, you're not 21 anymore. So
Yeah. I think
yeah.
I saw a really funny meme, a picture that said the best way to recover from a run is to be 20 years old.
That's exactly. You are 100% right.
Right? It's like us 40-year-old guys. It's not as quick.
No, not as quick, but I would say that I think what I've learned as you're older, I think you're far more stubborn when you're older.
Yes.
Like at 20, I don't think I would have had the resilience to keep going in some of my runs that you
Yeah.
do now. Or is it just stubborn stupidity? I don't know.
Yeah, well, running like I mean, if you're 45 and at 22, that's 23 years, I think,
Yeah,
of running with hip issues and pain.
yeah, yeah,
That does take a lot of
yeah,
stubbornness or mental, resilience to push through
yeah,
that because it's a lot of
yeah,
pain.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what your experience was, but the first surgeon I saw, he said to me, he said, when I told him about my hip, he said, "You'll never run again."
Yeah,
And so I got up out of the chair. I said, "Well, I'm sorry." I said, "But you're not the doctor for me."
nice.
I didn't pay his bill either. But he wasn't very impressed with that. I said, "Well,
Right.
anyway." So saw a couple of surgeons after that, and found a brilliant surgeon. Couldn't be happier. Like absolutely happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So when did you have the hip replacement? You said it was last year, 23?
Yeah, 24th of April,
Okay.
2023. Yeah. I remember it was
Okay,
my sister's birthday, so
2023.
it's easy to remember.
Okay. And which hip was it you had replaced?
Right hip. Yeah.
The right side. Okay.
Mm.
Nice. Now, I know in Australia, do they drive on the right or the left side of the road?
We drive on the left.
On the
Yeah.
left. Okay.
You
And so
steering
you're
wheel's on the right hand side of the car.
okay.
Yeah.
So now were
So
you
that's
able to drive earlier with since it was your right and you were on the other side of the car with like I'm assuming the gas pedal is
so
still probably on the
so
right?
so yeah. So well, the gas pedal is on the right.
Okay.
So technically you're not supposed to drive for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't have any need to drive for the first 2 weeks. But as I say, I came out of that probably about 9 days after. I actually felt pretty good. I was really interested. That's what got. So I sent you a message. I was like, I'm watching your day by day, and I'm like, I could almost script this. This is like, obviously
Right.
little differences, but super interested in that daily, blog. So that was great.
Right. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So the video that Bo made of the 100-kilometer race, what year was that? Was that
hmm
2020?
So that was 2022.
22. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
you went back and did it again in 23, right? Before the hip
Yeah.
surgery?
Yeah, I did.
So
So
how did it go in 23? I know how it went in
can't
22.
I can't really tell you 2023.
Uh,
But Bo will kill me. That's the next
he's
film.
got you sign an NDA for the
He's
video,
got
right?
he's got me signed on the dotted line. But
Okay.
I'm here talking to you, and I've been running. But
Nice.
there's a real massive curveball in that next one. So what I will tell
Really?
you about that race in 2020. So we went back in 2023,
Yeah.
and so that's in February. So
Okay.
mid February, and I was getting operated in April. And what I can tell you is that I had 2 shots of cortisone. I had steroids, not as in running steroids, as in
Right.
inflammatory steroids,
Yeah.
to help with the pain. And that kind of got me to a point where I could run. And I was probably the fittest I'd felt going around. But what I will tell you is, I don't know, maybe we'll do a conversion here. 38 degrees Celsius that
Ooh,
day.
that's hot. That's really hot.
So it was the hottest day on record that we'd had. So what's that? I'm just
That
Googling
is
that now.
100.4 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was one of the hottest days I've ever run in myself.
Oh my gosh.
But the terrain, you're doing 1,000 meters of vertical on some of the ups, 1,000
Yeah.
down. So we start that race at 5 in the morning, and it was probably 60 degrees Fahrenheit at that time in the morning. So it wasn't even cool
Right.
there. So let's just say that race went pear-shaped, but not because of my hip, I would say.
Right.
But it's a great story. And so then we followed it up before the surgery and attempted another 100K race, which is filmed. So that'll be packaged into that.
Oh wow.
So a little bit of a twist again.
Nice.
So yeah, we've done
Okay.
some crazy ones. And I'm happy
Yeah.
as soon as after that one gets done, I'll come and tell you all about that one as well.
Any idea
Yeah.
when those videos might come out? I'm curious how you did.
He did it. He did it in 2022, and he didn't just release it until now. And I'm
Right.
like,
I
come on.
know.
I'm like, come on, man. But he's got a lot of films, that he's
Oh
filmed over
yeah.
the time, and so it's just time for
Okay.
producing. But he also, in Australia, he goes on tour.
Right.
So he does what he calls secret screenings, and he has 4 unfinished films. He'll go to local theaters or big theaters in big cities, and he sells out, anywhere between
Wow.
500 and 1,500 people. And they'll pay to come for the night, and he gets on stage and he shows the unfinished films and then asks for feedback of what
Oh,
they think
really?
of them, and then goes and rejigs them. So hence why it took a while for that one to come out.
That's a good
So
idea. Wow.
yeah, really cool way of doing it. And
Yeah.
the audience get to engage with him personally in the foyer or vice versa.
Right.
And it also helps him be a YouTuber,
Right. Exactly.
ongoing. So,
Yeah. So
so
then you
yeah,
had the surgery in April, and now
Mm,
leading up to the surgery, obviously you had, it sounds like 2 races that you did. So you were
yeah,
in pretty good shape. And I've heard from a lot of
yeah,
people that being in good physical shape, especially with like the core and the lower trunk, is like
yeah,
incredibly important for that hip
massive.
recovery.
Yeah,
So the surgery that you had, like tell me about what specifically you had. Like, did you have an anterior, posterior? Like what kind of approach did
yeah.
you do?
So I researched that a lot, and obviously I'm sure you did too. You had
Oh yeah.
3 different MRIs, and and asking people from experience. So I've had a lot of people contact me the same since going, Pete, what version did you get? Why? Who's your surgeon? They
Right.
actually mostly just want to know who's your surgeon.
Yep.
They're like, he must be good. So yeah, I had anterior
Okay.
tongue and had ceramic on ceramic,
Nice.
ball and socket. So,
Yep.
but yeah, that process, I suppose, and recovery was amazing. Yeah, I was the experience in hospital, I'll tell you, was not good. And
Really?
different to America, right? You went home that day, is that correct?
I did. Yeah. It was only a couple hours later I went home.
Is that because of the health insurance over there? Is that because of the cost of it? Like, or is that just what they do? They get you in, get you out, see you later.
I think like from what they told me is basically with the anterior approach, they're not cutting anything. And it
Hmm.
was, they had me walking, within a couple hours of waking up, going up the stairs, and they were
Yeah.
like, you're good to go home. And so I don't know if it's insurance related or not, but it seems like that's generally the case is you go home
Wow.
same day.
Wow. I was in hospital for 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, and watching you walk upstairs, I was like, Really?" Like, I was walking. Don't get me wrong, I
Right.
was walking, but I was like, "He's making you go upstairs and downstairs on day one." Like, you just had a cut through your, hip, and they
Yeah.
pulled the muscles aside.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
that's like any incision to have to walk on that. I'm like, it's not necessarily the bone gone; it's actually the cut
Right.
in you. Yeah, so I was like, "Okay, that's impressive."
Yeah.
So we certainly did walks up and down the hallway, and I've
Sure.
got a video of me walking with no crutches on day one too, going,
With no
don't,
crutches.
yeah, I'm saying, don't tell the doctor. We have that much painkiller that, it didn't
Right.
hurt anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it was amazing. But yeah, I think it was the second night I was in there. My body went into complete like shaking, uncontrollable shaking that I couldn't stop.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and they had the whole, heart team in there. They had the we call them micro paramedics, or the high intensity ones.
Right.
Had a team of people in there trying to calm me down.
Wow.
But what had happened was I got a new nurse. It was her graduate first day, and she wasn't supervised for it, so it's not her fault. So I didn't know. I didn't have medications on my second day, pretty much all day. And then I had a temporary nurse who came in like at 11 o'clock at night.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I said to him, "Can I have some painkillers?" And he says, "I'll give you some when you're going to bed." I said, "It's 11 o'clock at night. When do you think I'm going to bed?" So we argued. We had a full on fight. Like,
Oh,
it was
wow.
bad. Because he refused to help. Then I lost my if you have the buzzer on your bed,
Right.
and it fell out of my bed, so I couldn't call anyone. So I had to
Oh my
crawl up.
goodness.
I had to crawl onto the floor and down from a high hospital bed to get this buzzer. And when I pressed the buzzer, anyway, I won't tell you all the details, but the long story short of that was that guy was never allowed in my room ever again.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was bad. So the rest of my stay, I had the supervising nurse looking after me, and she was very apologetic and said this should never happen.
Oh
So I
my
didn't have
gosh.
I didn't have painkillers, and you know what it's like. You had like Targin, you had some like it looked like you had
I was on Oxy and like
Oxy.
Tramadol.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was on Oxy and Tramadol too. I didn't have that for like a
Oh
like
my
a
gosh.
good chunk of
Oh,
the day. So my body went into shutdown. So it was a really bad experience. But after that, amazing. Like, once I'd calmed down, the next day was amazing. Yeah. So, but it won't happen
wow.
again. I won't let it happen
Right.
again. So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. I can't
yeah.
imagine because, oh, I remember
But
like,
then I saw
oh,
you, and I'm like, you had that similar experience on day one or two,
the night
where
of day one. Yeah.
yeah, the night of day one. And I was looking at you going, yeah, I'm hearing you.
Oh my gosh. I could
Yeah,
imagine. Like, I had painkillers at least, and you didn't. Oh,
yeah.
geez. Now, did they give
I did
you,
initially.
yeah, did they give you some kind of like injection, like a pain blocker during the surgery that lasted for like 24 to 48 hours?
I think so, yeah. Like, I got put to
Okay.
sleep, but I didn't have the
Right.
experience you had where you went in kind of a bit vortex going, there's people
Right.
there. I was
Yeah.
in kind of the waiting room. They put me to sleep in the waiting room before they wheel me in.
Oh, that's
Um,
nice.
so that was, yeah, I didn't see a thing. The next thing I woke up and I was done.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
really,
would
really,
prefer that.
really good.
I heard a story. Somebody I was actually somebody commented on my YouTube video that they had their surgery done and they woke up during the surgery
Wow.
when the surgeon was hammering the spike into the femur. Like, I just couldn't even imagine that. Like, I'd probably just pass
Uh,
out from shock at that point.
Yeah,
Oh
I think
man.
if he's just coming out of it, he probably is that drugged that he can't feel anything, and
Right.
he can't do anything, but he can hear or see it, and so, but he can't move because he's still coming out of it.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh. So now
Uh,
was your the spike in your femur, is it like a fully porous coated type, like from top to bottom, is it coated like rough type
yeah,
material?
yeah, I think so. So it can grow onto it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, pretty happy with that. And I don't know what your surgeon said, but um, my surgeon's like, there's a chance that you'll never have to replace that part of it.
Right.
You
Yep.
might have to replace the ceramic ball, maybe 15, 20 years, 25 years, but might not too.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of research on runners going back.
Right.
But his justification to me was, well, if you have someone who's morbidly obese and they're putting 50 kilos or how many pounds on top of that every step of every day, and they're
Yeah.
not active, then they're probably doing more impact on that joint than you are being light, healthy, and
Yeah.
looking after it. So he was like, "Nah, keep running, do it as long as you can. Just keep your health insurance up."
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense because, running is the running, I think it's downhill is like putting 200% of your body weight on each impact. And
Yep.
so like me, I'm like 100 and well, I've lost a lot of weight since I haven't been able to been in the gym. So I'm like
Mm,
175 pounds. So
mm,
if you think of a 350-pound person with a hip replacement walking on it,
exactly.
it's the
Yep.
same. Yeah. Okay.
Every 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 step,
Yeah.
and there are often people who will need it done to look after
Yeah.
themselves, and also a lot older. Like you and I are young, relatively,
Right.
for most people to get hip replaced.
Yeah.
I keep getting told that. I don't know whether I feel young.
I know.
But yeah, that young guy, he's like 45.
Yeah, everyone at the
So
PT, they're like, "You're so young to have a hip replacement." I'm like,
yeah,
"No, I don't feel
yeah,
young."
yeah. No,
You
that's
know?
it. Yeah.
Oh, man. So did, with the surgery and your recovery, like, when were you able to start walking, without crutches?
Oh. I don't know whether I recorded that too much. I could do little bits and pieces like every day, pretty much from
Sure.
when I started, but obviously not a great idea. I remember going to my son's soccer match, and it would have been at least 2 weeks after I was still on crutches. And ironically, I think you went to your child's cross country
That's
event,
right, yep.
or you wanted to go, and it was slippery.
Yeah, that's
Is that
right, yep.
right?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
So, and I went, that's funny because I was the same. I was on crutches, technically not supposed to drive. Maybe I did. That was one I did drive. And I went to my son's cross country, and he normally would win the race. And so I just parked. I could park near the finish line, and so
Nice.
I parked at the finish line. They came around an oval to finish their cross country. And I see the first runner, it's not him. I see the second runner, I see the third runner. I'm like, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Like something's gone completely. Then I see
Yeah.
the fourth, then I see the fifth, and then I see the sixth, and he's coming in seventh.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
And so he came in seventh, he crossed the finish line, he go to the finish line, he punched the fence. Right? And I'm like, well, what's going He's not an
Oh,
angry
no.
lad. He's not an
Right.
angry lad. I'm like, what's going on here? Anyway, what happened was he was leading the race, and a volunteer was a kid, and he deliberately sent him up a wrong path because he thought it'd be funny. And then about 25 kids passed him, and someone screamed out wrong way, and he had to come back and
Oh
chase the field down. And so anyway, he got
oh
allowed to
my
go.
gosh.
He got allowed to go through to the next round because they expected him to win it. But yeah, I've never seen him punch a fence, but it was quite entertaining.
Right. Oh my gosh, I can imagine. I'd be furious.
Yeah,
Oh.
but because I was on crutches, I couldn't go over and see him because it was too
Right.
far for me to walk in a hurry, and he'd already gone. He didn't know I was coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was funny when I heard you say you tried to get to your child's cross country on the same
Right.
time. So we do
So
we do
similar.
these things as parents. So
Right.
yeah, yeah,
So similar. So
yeah.
what was your recovery like? Did you like I know my surgeon told me I needed 2 weeks of in-home physical therapy. And
Yep,
then
same.
after that they were like, you don't need any more physical therapy. But I was like, no, I want physical therapy. So
Yep.
what did you do? Did you have kind of the
Yeah,
same?
very, very similar. So our insurance system over here, we have about that 2 weeks or 10 visits or something like that, or eight visits. And the same again. I was kind of like I was doing more than they were prescribing because it felt like their prescription for them was not trained for runners
Right,
or
it's for
people.
old people.
Or yeah, it was
Yeah.
designed for old people, and I was like, your physical therapist looked fantastic, by the way. Like I don't know, you like probably adapted, but mine was a new one. I got a new young one, and
Yeah.
my background's personal training, exercise science,
Oh,
so I could have written it myself.
sure, yeah.
So
You know what
I
to
did
do.
the I do, and I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm going to listen to this, but it was hard to be polite. Anyway, so I did my own thing anyway, and that's probably why recovery went really well.
Okay.
But yeah, it was probably that 2 week period. I would say up until 9 days, I was in a lot of pain. I don't know what
Yeah.
your 9 days was still. I was on heavy medication up until
Yeah.
9 days. And literally the 10th day, I was like, yeah, this is looking a whole lot better. So yeah, definitely interesting
Yeah.
scope. But yeah, recovery wise, I think, are you saying when I went back to running or walking?
No, like, did you see an actual in-office physical therapist, or did you not? Since that's what you do by trade, basically, that you kind of knew what to do.
Yeah, so we had one at home, and then I continued on with that person for 4 or 5 sessions.
Okay.
We had to drive to them after a certain period of time. And I
Right.
think that's a little bit to reduce the number of home visits, but also to make you get in the car, get out of your house, go and do
Yes.
something, in that space. So yeah, had some visits there. But like when we were in the sessions, I was saying, "Can you please do this? And can you please do this? And can you please?"
So you're directing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, are you up for that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." So that was that
Okay.
helped, but because you can't do manual stuff yourself, as
Right.
well
No.
as someone else
No.
can. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I'm
Mm.
almost 9 weeks. Monday will be 9 weeks post-op for me. And I'm
nine
still
weeks.
seeing a physical therapist twice a week,
That's
solely because I
amazing.
want to. Like, I don't have
Absolutely.
to. And I'm
Oh
like, I want to be there. I want to be, because
man,
like we're
continue,
just
continue.
yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Monday will be 8 weeks, not nine, 8 weeks.
8 weeks,
And so my
2 months.
my physical therapist is telling me, like, after 8 weeks, we're really going to step it up, and they're probably going to get me on like the Alter G treadmill. And I can't wait
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah. I bet. I
Excited. So
bet. I
how
bet.
long was it for you where you were able to start working in some small
Some
runs,
s-
probably
some
a minute
small.
or whatever,
Yeah, as in a minute long.
or any run? Like, how long till you were able to do your
Oh,
first run after surgery, no matter how
the
long it was?
I
Because I know they
reckon it.
tell you, like, I don't know, they told me I couldn't do anything. Like, I needed to give him 3 months to let the
Yep.
spike fully heal into the femur.
Yeah.
And after 3 months, then they were like, that's where you could probably start working in some small runs.
Yeah. And look, I'd probably agree with that in terms of like I don't know that side of it in terms of you can't physically see inside how long it's going to take to go,
Right.
but the longer you let it go without high impact, like is probably better. So I've got a spreadsheet in front of me. I've just brought it up so I can actually
Nice.
refer to it, and I've got it like weeks after surgery, how many Ks I did, how many walks. So
Awesome.
okay, so April 24th, and then on June, where are we? Oh, sorry, a month after, so May 14th, I did 2.6 kilometers. Sorry,
Run
the
or walk?
conversion rate. Walk. All right.
Okay, walk.
Now
Okay.
that's a month. Okay. And that was it took 33 minutes. Like took half an hour.
Right. Yeah.
It was like, and I wrote in there sore, but took 33 minutes.
Yep.
Um, and what's that? April to May, to June. And then by end of June, start of July. So 2.5 months, 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And I tried my first 2 kilometer run.
Okay.
Yeah.
What notes do you have for that? Do you have any notes
Okay.
of?
So, yeah. So here we go. So 9 weeks, at 9 weeks, it was first 4 kilometer run on the trails at 6 minutes per K. And that's June 29th. So April, May, June. Yeah. So just
So
over
two
two.
months. Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, 4 kilometers. But I think I did 4 kilometer. I did 2 kilometers up on the jog, and then 2 kilometers on a kind of a very easy down.
Yeah.
Not much of a down, but fairly flat. So yeah, that was what's it? Yeah, 6 minutes per kilometer. So that's
Okay.
yes, I was pretty happy with that. But I was also weighing probably 6 or 7 kilos too much as well, just because I hadn't stopped, stop running.
Right.
Um, but
Yeah.
the interesting thing after that, the following week, I tripled that, which is probably too quick, and I got up to 21 kilometers for the week.
Oh,
So I
wow.
did
Yeah, that's
I
a
did an
lot.
8 kilometer, a 2.5, an 8 kilometer, and a 2.5. Um, but then what happened was, I think because of my gait and how I was running, that I had multiple calf injuries over the next 2 months.
Oh, interesting.
Um, just because of maybe how I was running, or different positioning. But yeah, found that, and probably should have done more strength training, instead of just going straight back to it.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, definitely
Okay.
progressive, but you know what we're like. We push. We like to push. We think we're fine,
Yep.
and so you're probably guaranteed about a month away from feeling really good,
Yeah.
and being able to get that running going again. I'd say in the next 4 weeks, it's going to ramp up pretty quick,
Yeah.
for you. Hopefully, if everything goes well. But you
Right.
got you got the clot issue to deal with too, yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I had the deep vein thrombosis in the calf and then the acute pulmonary embolism in the lungs that
Yeah.
it all feels normal to me now. Like I feel 100% as far as that goes. You know, the
Yep.
medication seems to, I don't have any pain in the calf. I don't have any
Yep.
respiratory issues like I did. So
Good.
it seems to be better.
Good.
Did you
Yeah.
not experience any of that kind of?
I didn't. I wore those stockings, that the ones you don't wash for a long
Yeah.
time.
Right. I know.
I was probably pretty persistent wearing them longer. But one of the things I was really interested in your recovery, completely different to mine,
Okay.
was your ice thing.
Right.
I never applied ice.
Really? Ever?
Never.
Wow.
Maybe in hospital. I don't remember while I was there, but never when I went home.
That's
Never.
interesting.
Never used ice.
Did you not
Uh,
feel like a lot of tightness and swelling or inflammation in your hip at all?
Painkillers.
Wow, that's
Pain
surprising.
Painkillers and like stockings, you know.
Yeah.
So
So like
yeah, what I was
compression?
yeah, like, but I'm
Okay.
watching yours and I'm like, man, you were like desperate to get a new machine,
Oh
like,
yeah. It was
yeah,
that
and
thing was like night and day.
yeah, and then I'm kind of like, and so the jury's out on that for me. I'm interested in looking into that more of like benefit versus non-benefit.
Yeah.
And then when you got the clots, I'm like, but then I went, hold on, you've also got a family history. So this is it's
Yep.
you're like a case study. You're like one of those ones you
Right.
go, I'd actually be really interested in that if you didn't do the icing. Hopefully you don't need your next one done, or do you need your next one done at some point?
Yeah, I'm gonna need something on the right side.
You
Yeah.
need something on the right side.
Yeah.
My surgeon said to me, he goes, "You've probably got 3 to 5 years after he did my first one, and then I'll probably see you again." Well, that was 2 years,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's okay.
Right.
But I think I'm back earlier because I was so happy with how successful it was. I'm like, why wait? I could
Yeah.
put up with this other one for a lot longer if I don't run,
Sure.
but I don't want to do that.
The whole
So
purpose we did it in the first
yeah,
place, right? Is to get back on the
absolutely,
trails, you know?
yeah, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I definitely maybe, look into the ice or at least try just putting an ice pad on it or something. Because for
yeah.
me, I know my wife used an ice machine after her labral
Mm,
reconstruction or her repair. And then I used that and then got the other one. And it's just, I would feel like a lot of just tightness and like it would feel warm, like just
mm,
the inflammation in the hip. And when I
yeah,
put that ice machine on, it was awesome. It's so good.
day and
So
night.
I
Yeah,
recommend it to anybody that has a surgery like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I was like, when it popped up, I was like, I sat up a little bit, go, what's he doing?
Yeah,
So yeah.
it's
Uh,
cool. So,
and obviously, like you did, I'm sure you did a lot of internet research
oh
looking
yeah,
into, and you see so many people do it, but the best ones, I think, are the guys like yourself who you can actually talk to and go, hey, tell me about this. What
right.
happened when you did this? So powerful. And even watching yours, even though I've had mine done, watching your videos, a day by day thing for someone, I'm going to do it again. It was a
Yeah,
reminder, oh yeah, that happened, because you forget stuff. You're that drugged
yeah,
out. You're that drugged out that the video is actually good recording,
right.
So yeah,
It's like when you have kids. Do you have kids?
yeah. I have
Like,
three boys,
okay, so it's like when you have
three
when
boys.
you have a kid, you totally forget like how kind of tired and miserable that first like 6 weeks is, and it's like, oh, we'll have another one. It wasn't that bad. And it's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I forgot that. You're not
right,
wrong.
yeah. Well, so I was really curious. That's interesting that they didn't even recommend like ice because my surgeons
Yeah,
actually gave me a prescription to get one from like a medical supply place if I
yeah,
needed to get one. They were like, yeah, you should
yeah,
definitely get this machine. And it's so interesting the way things are so different in different
yeah.
areas.
And you did this whole before the surgery. You had like this special body wash stuff, and
Yeah.
we don't have none of that.
Which
Like
didn't make sense. Like, why do I need
we
to wash
just
my entire body if I'm only
we
getting my
just
hip?
we just rock up on the day, and then they clean the area, and that was about it.
Now
Like
that makes
it
sense.
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't this. You had moisturizing lotion and everything, and
Right.
I'm like,
Did
wow,
they make
this
you
is
drink a like an electrolyte drink beforehand?
maybe, but it certainly wasn't a branded one. Yours looked like you were sponsored by Gatorade or something.
Right. It was like Ensure or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it was like, can you put this up, or put the
Right.
brand up?
I know.
It was fantastic.
So after, you started working in those runs, you did that, I think it might have been like the 10th this week where you did like 21, 22 kilometers.
Yeah.
When do you think you felt like back to sport where you could fully train like the way you wanted to? Or did you even
Well,
get to that?
as I was saying, absolutely, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it was in August. Yeah, August here. I've got calf
Okay.
injury. I took actually, yeah, pretty much all of August. I was out with a calf injury. I did 6 kilometers in all of August, pretty
Oh,
much.
wow.
And so that really took a setback for me. But then by the start of September, and we're at week 19 now.
Okay.
So I hadn't really had many gains, I wouldn't think, in aerobic fitness because I've had a month off.
Yeah.
Um, and it was sporadic purely because of how much was building. But just to read out to you here, so week 19, 23 kilometers, and then the following weeks 31, 39, 50, 50, 18, I must have had a week off, 42, 63, 59, 56, 53, 58, 56.
Wow.
So, like, I was aiming for 50 Ks a week, and then
Yeah.
60, 83, 73, 60, 59, and then 105. That was my peak.
Wow.
Um, that's 37 weeks. That's by January the following year. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, really gradual build up. I think I had 3 months worth of 50 kilometers plus per week. Um, and yeah, then did in Feb this year the 100K hut to hut race at Mount Buller in Australia,
Yeah.
and completed, I might add.
Nice.
So
Oh, good. You're not under a,
I'll
you're not
tell you,
under
I'll tell you that bit. So I finished it this year.
Okay.
But it's a bucket list thing. 5,700 meters of vertical. I'm sure you saw that on the
Wow.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of vert. But I'm sure you saw that Nemesis film and just the
Yeah.
terrain, it's not runnable.
No.
You're doing
It's like a
some
lot of bushwhacking.
rock scrambling, bushwhacking, beautiful course. Like, it's one of the most
Right.
beautiful places in the world. I would go back every year purely. It's just so beautiful. So yeah, it'll be on your bucket list, Stephen. We'll have to get you out here for one of them. So
It's made me want to come out. Honestly, it's made me want to come run an ultra in Australia. It did. I'll have to come camp in your backyard.
yeah, very, very welcome. Very
You know.
welcome.
So what was that race in February? Was that your first race back?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of races per se. As I say,
Right.
that's my race each year that I want to do.
Okay.
And bit of a, it's probably got a sentimental value because it was the one where I told my dad that I'd do that 100K race, and then he passed away.
Uh,
So it's kind of got that sentimental value for me to go
right.
back each year. And the race directors are brilliant, and a great community up there. It was the first one I took my oldest son up there. He did his first ever 10-kilometer run
Oh,
up
cool.
there. And his comments were, Dad, the people are so nice. Like, he goes, the ultra running community, he goes, I've never met a bunch of nicer people who are friendly. And he plays soccer, and he's just finished playing soccer and basketball. He doesn't enjoy that as much as that 10K ultra run.
Right.
He had 147 people in that race, and he was 14 years old in open. He came 15th, so he got a
Oh,
little
wow.
bit of he got a little bit of a sniff. He was like, "Oh, this
Nice.
is all right," So
He's gotten bitten by the bug.
yeah, I think so. I think he'll come back to it later in life. I'm not one to. I don't think he needs to put too many kilometers on his joints at his age.
Yeah.
I'll wait till he's 18, 19, 20. Till he can get the bigger distances. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the shorter distances are good for now.
Wow. That's awesome. So
Mm.
how did that race go for you? Like, I mean, I can imagine. I know when I had a really, really, really bad ankle roll where I partially tore a tendon in my left ankle. And
Yep.
it took me a solid at least a year to have confidence in that ankle, like running
Yeah.
on technical terrain. So I can
Yeah.
imagine, yeah, February. So you're 10 months post hip surgery and
Yeah.
you're running a 100-kilometer race.
Yeah.
I mean, did you feel going into it, like, did you have any apprehension or like nerves about how the hip's going to behave? Or you were like, this is going to be
Zero.
perfect?
Bulletproof.
That's
Like,
awesome.
it felt amazing. Like, I probably felt that way genuinely by November that year.
Okay.
So we're talking maybe, what's that?
What is that?
That's 6 months, 6, 7 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, six,
Wow.
7 months. I felt as good as I've ever been.
So it just felt normal.
It felt normal, no pain, zero pain. And that's the most amazing thing I think about it. And I hope you have the same experience when you get back to running. But I got to the point where I'm like, I have no pain. I didn't actually
Yeah.
know what it was like to run without pain.
Yeah, because you did it for
So
23 years.
yeah. So I would run probably the last 2 years. I've run when I get sore on my long runs, I'd be taking painkillers while I run on all of my long runs.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to give it up. And
Right.
that's not a good thing. Please
No.
don't condone that. Don't condone that to anyone who's
Right.
watching this here. But I'm talking about a very, very low dose and
Sure.
and we're talking a 6-hour training run or a 5-hour training run,
Right.
where you might have it once.
Yep.
Not going for a half an hour, an hour, or an hour and a half. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was definitely to get in those long training runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just needed that little bit of edge off to be able to keep going.
Definitely. Well, so
Yeah.
I'm curious then earlier in your recovery, like let's say like the 2 month mark, 3 month mark, did
Yep.
you experience any, like for me, the main spot that I had a lot of pain before surgery was kind of like, the only way I can really describe it is like kind of in the groin, like where the
Yep.
hip meets the pelvis, basically,
Yep.
is where
That's
I felt a lot of pain.
that
Did you
pinch
have
point
any?
when you
Yes.
surf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, even
absolutely.
yeah, and also like twisting or lateral movements were excruciating. Just
Yep.
couldn't. No.
Yep.
So like, did you experience any pain post surgery in that same area for a
No,
while?
zero.
See, that's
Look, sorry, I wouldn't say zero because that's where the cut is.
right.
So I felt, yes, probably from the cut, but I knew it wasn't from the impingement.
Yeah.
That's different. So definitely because of where the cut is and the area, there's still a dash numb. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't have full sensation, but I'm not worried about that.
Right.
I think I saw on one of your Strava things when you said groin treatment or something, and you had a few people question you about, what does that entail?
Yeah.
But it's genuinely that pinch point right in your hip, that when you drive a knee, and so when you're trying to lift a knee to go up a climb,
Uh-huh.
that's when it was just scripted. I mean, your hip flexors and that is driving you to run.
Right.
So you end up not driving as high, and you end up shuffling your feet. So you change how you run, and I think that's probably what was my calf issues
Oh, right.
when I first came back was I was running different and putting a different, heel strike, so
Yeah.
yeah, definitely a little bit different in
Yeah.
that space. Yeah.
It's I was curious because like I know like at times still post op I'm having like a pinching feeling almost like in that groin area, and I've told my physical
Yeah.
therapist about it, and he thinks it's just normal part of the healing process. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
hoping
Yeah.
another, like you said, 4 weeks this time, maybe
Yeah.
that'll be gone and it'll be
You're
normal.
early. You're 8 weeks. You're
8 weeks.
early. I'd be expecting there be, yeah, probably had a little bit of pain there, and I think it's more from the
Yeah.
cut and also the muscles just settling back in to the new
Yeah.
thing. They do say that there can be some impingement there a little bit post these sorts of things, but
Sure.
certainly not the pain that you were experiencing prior to stopping
Yeah.
running. That was interesting to me too. I went back and looked through your Strava, and then I loved your post where you went, cortisone was short lived, and I'm like, yep.
Yep. Yeah.
um,
How long
wow.
did it last for you?
Look, a few times it's lasted, 3 months.
Oh,
A
wow.
few times it's lasted 6 months. But as you get closer and closer to surgery, it's like you didn't even have it.
Yeah.
It was like I was a waste of time.
Right. It's
And
like
that
4 days.
Yep. And the best part of it when they put local anesthetic in for the first hour afterwards, but that was about it.
Right. I know, right?
um,
Oh,
and you get out of there, you go, oh, this feels good. I might go for a run right now. And I'm like, no, don't do that.
right.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Not being the case, having to go and continually get injections or continually
So
going.
you're still doing
You
that right
know,
now. You're still
I've
getting injections?
stopped now. I had one about, I reckon, 2-3 weeks ago,
Okay.
to see if that would help. Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
it was my last hurrah. And then this week I ran. I got a really good friend, Tom Dade. You should look him up on Strava. You'll enjoy him. So his name's Tom Dade, and he's won this 100K race
Oh
multiple
wow.
times, where we are, and he does, 100 milers and some crazy runs.
Okay.
So look up Tom Dade. Um, and he's only 25 years of age, and probably one of the next up and coming ultra runners on the world. He competed for Australia, made the Australian team. So he's
Oh wow.
been over to the Alps and competed over there last year. This year.
Nice.
So yeah, he's come up, but he was in the gym with me this last week, and I I went, I'm just going to try 5 minutes on the stair machine, because I'm walking. and I felt all right.
Right.
And then I went, I'm going to try the treadmill. So I got on the treadmill. I lasted for just under 6 minutes for the kilometer.
Oh.
And he said, do some more. You're looking good. I said, I won't be able to walk tonight. I texted him that night. I texted him at night and said, I can't even walk. Like,
Oh,
it's
man.
that painful. I can't like stand my weight on that
Oh,
leg. So yeah, I'm counting the days till the
right.
next surgery.
And you said that's in March of next year, right?
Yeah, March next year. So
March.
and
Okay.
you're like, why are you waiting so long? Well, after my first tip, I cancelled my health insurance because in Australia, different to where you are, I cancelled my health insurance because in Australia we have public hospitals. You can just go in and get it done for free, right?
Oh, wow.
Um, but you don't pick your surgeon, and you don't pick the implant, you don't pick the style, you don't pick
Oh,
when,
wow.
right? And the public system, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Um, but in Australia, if you go and get private health insurance, you have to wait 1 year, and then they will pay for it.
Oh, wow.
So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Health
Now,
insurance completely different in Australia.
is there a deductible?
If you have a lot of Americans listening to this, they're probably going to move to Australia just for that
Right.
reason.
Well, I was just say, is there like a deductible for that? You know, you said they'll pay for it, or is it just they'll
Yeah.
just pay?
So there's a gap thing. Sometimes
Okay.
it might cost, anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000
Oh, that's not bad though.
on top of the gap. But in Australian dollars, I think it was, if I paid out of my own pocket, it'd be about $26,000
Yeah.
to get your hip replaced.
Yeah. I think
And that's
mine. So I think mine was like around 30 or 31,000 for the
yeah,
left hip. Yeah.
yeah. And that was out of your pocket?
No, luckily I had insurance. So our insurance is the American insurances can be good, but it's also gonna be crap. And mine, unfortunately, is not very good. So I had a
Yeah.
maximum out of pocket of $11,000. So
Right.
that's out of my pocket.
So it cost you 11,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it probably would have cost me 5 or 6, but my surgeon was amazing. He didn't charge me, so
Oh, wow.
he just charged the health insurance fund because
Ah, okay.
he can charge on top of that for an extra fee, but he still get paid for that. But he can charge an extra fee. But he was
Oh, that's
fantastic and
amazing.
didn't charge me extra. I think
Wow.
I'm coming back for round 2, so I think he's
There you
throwing me
go.
in
He got he knew you were coming back. He's like, I'll
Yeah.
get the second surgery. Okay.
I'll probably get him 3 or 4 times in the
Yeah.
next 30
Right.
years, you know.
So
So
what's wrong with the left? Is it the same thing? Is it hip dysplasia and a torn
um,
labrum or?
similar, yeah. So probably not as bad. The last time, my first one, I couldn't actually tie my shoelaces. So
Yeah.
my knee wouldn't lift high enough that I could actually do my shoes.
Oh, man.
So whereas the left one now, I can still do my shoes. I can still bend down. It just hurts.
Yeah.
So just a sharp pain going through it, and then feels like you can't put weight on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you able to run at all now, or is it pretty much you're done? It's just too much pain.
As I was saying, like 2 days ago, I ran for a kilometer, and then that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I could go running right now, but it would be very
You
painful.
wouldn't be walking. Yeah.
Nah. And then I
Okay.
think it was about a month ago, I went for a run, and I'd had a cortisone shot a while ago, and I went, oh, this first 500 meters, I'm like, this feels amazing. I'm like, I'm running on clouds. And then I got to a kilometer, I'm like, I can feel a little bit. And I had to stop before 2 kilometers because it was just so painful. I couldn't
Oh, man.
move. Yeah. So I'm done from that
Yeah.
point of view. So, but even going to the gym to do weights, to bend, to pick up dumbbells, to whatever, is
Yep.
still uncomfortable. It still causes you more pain. So it actually detracts you from wanting to do any physical exercise
Right.
whatsoever, which isn't good. So I'm gonna have to watch what I eat.
Well, like I was really curious about that for you. So after the first leading up to the first surgery,
Mhm.
and then now this one, how has it been mentally for you? Because I mean, you sound very similar to me, where running is a large part of your life, and it's a big
Mm,
part of kind of who you are, and to
mm.
not be able to run, I'm sure it's been difficult for me. So I'm curious, how's it been for you in
Yeah.
that whole process?
Look, I'd say difficult, but I'm a pretty optimistic sort of person. Like, there's a lot of people in life with worse
Yes.
situations than me. So my doctor said to me the other day, he said, how's your mental health? And my response was that for me, it feels like a choice, and that's not the way it is for a lot
Yeah.
of people. So please
Right.
don't take that the wrong way. But I have a choice to get up and go do something to make that better. And I am capable of doing that. So I just do different things. I immerse myself in different things, and my kids are very active in all that they do. And so it actually gives me more time to be a parent.
Yeah.
So it's actually, on a flip side, it's great. But on another side, obviously, it is a little bit in the back of your head going, hold on, I'm putting on a bit too much weight here. I'm getting getting a bit heavier, and that whole mentality of, oh, it'll be fine as soon as I get it fixed. Well,
Right.
we're still 16 weeks away until that's getting operated on. That's a lot of food, and there's Christmas in between there. So.
Put on that Christmas 10 pounds.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
well, what do you have for next year? Do you have anything that you're like looking forward to after surgery, and something
Yeah.
or just get back to running? I know you said you don't like to race much, but is what's on the
Yeah, like,
horizon for you?
look, genuinely probably try and follow a similar sort of recovery plan as my last one, because I'm getting it done nearly at a similar time of the
Hmm.
year. So yeah, the goal is to be by probably September again, back up and running that 50 Ks a week. But just being able to go and do a long run on
Yeah.
a, early weekend morning for 3-4 hours would be an amazing dream.
Yeah.
So if I can get back to that, great. But probably the first goal is to run without pain.
Yes.
If I could run without pain, happy days. But just be healthy overall. That's the first goal.
Yep.
But genuinely, February 2026, we'll be doing the hut to hut again, the 100 Ks. That
Nice.
is on the list. I'd almost book it in right now, if all goes well.
Right.
And then Leadville, August 2026. No.
There you go. All right. Well, what you need to do then is you need to come out here in August of next year, 2025,
Right.
and come volunteer, get some volunteer hours. You can volunteer at the bike race, the mountain bike, the trail run, whatever, and then
Yeah.
that gives you preference in the lottery, so you can almost guarantee your slot in Leadville.
I don't know whether I could do $1,600 for the flight for a
Right.
volunteer.
Right. I know it's adds on to that race entry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, look, there'd probably be probably just to be able to, yeah, just do your weekly stuff.
Right.
And there's probably a few other races I wouldn't mind doing, and my brother's getting into it, so I think he's keen to get back to doing something with me. He's never been able to do anything with me. He ran a half marathon yesterday in an hour and 44 minutes.
Oh wow, that's
Um,
awesome.
and so he's moving. He's,
Yeah, good.
for someone 12 months ago who couldn't run really at all, his progression's been amazing.
Yeah, that's a quick time
So
for that.
yeah, but he's just got to start doing some hills. And it's a whole lot more fun being out in the mountains anyway.
Right.
So
It
yeah,
is.
but
I love the mindset in the mountains. It's just so different
uh,
than running on the roads. It's so
oh yeah,
peaceful and just not
yeah,
about the same experience. It's
yeah.
being present in nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, yeah, there'll be a few racing events. There's probably one. We have one called the Surf Coast Century in Australia, which is right along the beach. It's an amazing, beautiful run. It's like a coastal run.
Oh,
So
cool.
there's a 100 kilometer one I wouldn't mind doing. So that's on the list. There's a
Okay.
few on the list.
Yeah.
But look, just to be back, I'll be happy. Doesn't have to be 100 kilometer runs.
Right.
Be happy just to be back out there and see what the family wants to do too.
Yeah, just be in the
Yeah,
mountains, just be
yeah,
back. Absolutely.
yeah.
What how many times have you run the hut to hut race? It sounds like you've done it
Yeah,
two, three times.
three times now. So
Okay. So
yeah,
2026 will be four then. Okay.
yeah,
All
yep.
right. Do they have
So
any kind of special awards for like somebody who does it 5 years in a row or 10 years or something like that?
not really. I don't think so. Like it is it's you need, I suppose, credits to be able to enter the 100K.
Okay.
So you have to apply to enter the 100K. They don't let anyone just do it. And
It's a
basically,
pretty tough race. Yeah.
yeah, well, the race director basically audits any 100K applicant.
Yeah.
They want to check their Strava file. They want to check that they're physically capable. Not just anyone can just sign up and
Right.
good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd have too many paramedics on the mountain.
That's a
So
good idea. That's a very
yeah,
good
yeah,
idea.
yeah, absolutely.
Honestly,
Um,
they should do that at Leadville. Leadville, they don't do that at all. And anybody can go.
really,
There's no prerequisites at all. Like you could sign up and never have run a ultra marathon in your life. And that could be your first ultra. and it's it's different running at
Wow.
10 to 12,000 feet. You know, if you're coming there from somewhere sea level trying to run your first ultra, it's a
That's
eye-opening
not, yeah,
experience.
yeah. So how many people start Leadville?
Oh my gosh, it's a lot. Like, so when I ran it last year, it was, well, in 2023, it was something, I think it was over 900 people.
Wow.
And this year I was crewing my friend, I think there was 860, I believe.
Yeah.
And so it's generally somewhere
That's
between
just for the
800 and
100.
1,000 just for the 100. Yeah, it's a lot of people, and it's way too many for what that those towns can support. To be honest with you, it's a lot of
So,
people.
and how many DNFs?
Quite a few. I'd say the finisher rate, I think in 24 was like 47%.
Wow.
And I don't know what it was last year, but I think it was pretty high as well. Or well, the DNF rate was pretty high, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because they let
Yeah.
so many people that don't have the experience in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of people think that'll be easy,
yeah, right.
I'll just go slower, and then their body blows up and it can't hack that distance. Yeah. So it's
Well, what?
interesting.
So I know the hut to hut you said is you know, it sounds like it's 5,000 meters of elevation, so that's, you know, 15, 16,000 feet of elevation gain. It's a lot for
Yeah.
100K. What's
Yeah.
the highest altitude of that race?
1,800 meters.
Okay, so that's
What's
probably
that in
about
feet?
5,000-ish feet, maybe
Something like that.
four
Yeah.
4,000 something feet. Okay, now is
Yep.
that what's the highest point that you can, you know, relatively easily get to in Australia from where you live? You know, to go
To
like on a
train
training run.
to nowhere near that. That's
No,
the
oh
problem.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, probably half that. Maybe 1,200, probably two-thirds of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of the highest point near me. But that's 4.5 hours away
Oh, wow.
from where I live.
Yeah,
So
it's a
that
haul.
race, it's a haul.
Right.
But close by me, you can probably get to say two-thirds of that.
Okay.
But it's very hard to get in enough elevation training, in
Yeah,
terms of doing that. So, and it's more the downs too. Because you can get on a stepper, you can get, but
yeah,
even getting on a stepper is different than having your feet on an angle like this,
absolutely.
than a flat. So your calves don't appreciate that. Um, so yeah, it's definitely a little bit different and hard to train. Whereas where you are, like you've got the mountains surrounding you, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
like
I can
it's just,
see Pikes Peak from my master bedroom window, so that's 14,115 feet.
yeah,
And
that
where
big.
we live at 6,700 is where our house is. So I have
Yeah,
the altitude. It's just it's hard to train for races that are not here because most
yeah,
places don't have like a 2 or 3 or even a 4 mile climb, like steady
yeah,
just climb.
yeah.
It's a
Just a
lot shorter.
constant.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
constant.
yeah. So you kind of have to do repeats.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, which I'm sure you're familiar with. It sounds like
yeah,
you have to do a lot of
yeah.
repeats.
You have to do a lot of repeats, but if you don't get the vertical in that time.
Right,
So, but you also don't get the continual slog.
right.
Of you might go for 20 minutes and then you have to go down again, and so
Yeah,
your heart rate goes down, your body recovers, and then you go again. So it's kind of like interval training, but it's not what you want. You want
right.
that 45 minutes to an hour, just
Yes.
really push it, but that's hard to find around here.
Yeah,
So, but yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Have
but
you
you got the
done,
amazing stuff.
have you done any other, like, races internationally? You know, whether it's Europe
No,
or somewhere?
nothing international. No.
Okay.
So no, not yet. It's called three kids, as you said, having kids.
Exactly.
But look, I won't rule it out. We're looking at going to Europe at the end of next year.
Oh, nice.
As a family. But it's probably at the point I might find a 50K or something a bit
There you
smaller
go.
just for the fun of going in. So yeah, we're looking at December. We'll be in Europe.
Okay.
So I've got to have a bit of a look around and see what's about. Um,
Nice.
but it might just be about not doing running for once and just doing a family thing. So
Exactly. Yeah. How old is your youngest child?
I've got my three boys are 11, 13, and 15.
Okay, well, that's very similar to my kids. Okay, so
Yeah,
11. Yeah, so they're
yeah.
getting to the point where they're pretty self-sufficient and
Oh yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah.
take too much from you guys to get them
Oh,
going, I guess.
nah, not at all. Very, very, very easy age. So how old are yours?
So my youngest is 6, and then
Yeah.
I have an 8, 12, and about to be 15 this weekend,
Wow.
next weekend. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's busy. Yeah,
very
that's
busy.
busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what's your goal next year, like after the surgery, or this year? Like, is
Well,
there? Anything
So
in mind?
nothing this year.
Yeah.
Because my
Yeah,
right,
too late. Yeah.
my right side is also, I have my labrum on the right side is completely calcified and shot,
Okay.
and I do have hip dysplasia, but it's not as bad as the left. So I'm possibly a candidate for just a labral reconstruction, and maybe not a full hip replacement, but I might need
Yeah.
another hip replacement. And so
Yeah.
that is possibly next year. I might kind of try the route you did and just
Yeah.
kind of see if I can take some shots for a little while to kind of see how long.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not hurting at all. The right side,
Yeah.
like of course during recovery, it's fine. So
Yeah.
probably not. If the right side doesn't act back up and the shots work, maybe get into like a 50K towards the end of next year, maybe.
Nice.
But I'm kind of like you. For a while I was really struggling mentally with possibly not being able to do like a 100-miler again.
Yeah.
But now I'm just really looking forward to being able to go in the mountains, whether it's just hiking or just going on a 4-mile run. Like I just want to get in the mountains and have some time out in nature. That's all I want.
You'll be back. I think you'll be surprised how good it is, and hopefully I'm talking to you in a year or 2 years' time when you've had one or both done,
Right.
and you're fully back, and you go, oh, man, remember how bad that was and how good it is now.
Yeah.
And I was watching a thing on, I can't remember his last name, Jeff. He's 52, 53, ultra runner. Sorry, his last name's just escaped me. I was watching.
Is he from
doco
Canada?
the other night.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
it
it's
might
not
be,
Jeff.
yeah.
Is it Jeff Peltier? No, because he's not that old. He's younger than. Well, he might be 40. I don't know how old he is.
He's an ultra athlete too. Jeff Brown.
Yeah, Jeff Browning. Yep.
I
Yeah.
was watching a thing on Jeff Brown. He's like 52, 53, and I was running.
Yeah.
I was chatting with Bo the other day, and I said, we got a few years left in us yet, so
Exactly.
let's get these hips replaced, and that's why for you too, you got some years left in you, so get the joints replaced or fixed, and you'll be back. So
yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of people? I'm curious. Like a lot of people asked me like why I chose to go for a hip replacement right now, and I think you just mentioned it right there. It's like we're young, we're relatively young. Like we still have a lot of life left to run.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that was why I made the choice.
Yeah, but it's the myth too. I think it's the myth of you shouldn't do it until you're 70. And then when you speak to people who've done it when they're younger, they're like, I would have done it younger. And now I've done mine. I'm like, yeah, I'd do the same. I would do it again much earlier. Just get it done, get it sorted, and then you can enjoy your life because it's zero pain, from me and now. And I couldn't have even imagined that was going to, I did it thinking that wasn't even going to be the case. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. It's the same for you too. You'll be right. You'll be back.
Oh, that's great to hear, man. It's good to hear your experience and how you ran and got the other one coming up, but you're going to be back to running again. You've got that great protocol you can look at for your spreadsheets there and copy, and you'll be back to running and in September, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. As will you. So looking forward to seeing your progress. So yeah.
Well, Peter, it's been awesome chatting with you, man, and hearing all of this. Like seriously, it's been great to talk to somebody else who's gone through what I'm going through and to, kind of know it'll be okay and hear your story as well. It's just been awesome. So I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm glad that you kind of reached out and introduced yourself, and it's been fun. And seriously, if you get into Leadville and you make it over to Colorado, definitely give me a shout and we'll link up, and maybe I'll come crew you or something,
It'll want to be a good crew.
Yeah, exactly.
Get me over the line.
There you go. Hey, I got lots of experience crewing.
That's it. Stephen, same, mate. Thank you so much, and really great chatting to you too, and appreciate being on your podcast.
All right, Peter. Thanks a lot.
Good on you.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Adventure Jogger, please consider joining our Patreon, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok for more content like this. Without your continued support, we would not be able to produce this type of content. So thank you so much to everyone that has listened, followed along, subscribed, liked, commented, you name it, donated on Patreon. Thank you.